Good evening. Thanks for joining me. My name is Jerrel. I develop games for a living. I'm going to share a bit of my workspace here with you. I'm currently working on porting my game, The Hero of Destiny Was Killed, by the final boss to other platforms. I'll be distributing the game for free via Homebrew. I will definitely bring the game to PS Vita. I'm seeing if I can make it function on the 3DS, which is significantly more difficult because the 3DS has way less RAM available for games than other consoles, and one of the issues that we face with the 3DS is I develop in Unity, and Unity for the 3DS is broken. It's just logically, functionally so beyond broken. I shipped 5 commercial titles on the 3DS, and I want to be able to just make free homebrew games for people to enjoy. So I'm working on bringing my current and upcoming games to the 3DS, but it's going to take a fair bit of effort. So one of the issues that we face here is quite interesting. The way that this game's database system works, and I'll share that here now, is that the database system, I'll check out my core and I'll show you how my core looks here. Not a weightlifting, not a physical fitness kind of core. The core is the database manager, and it handles all of the fixed data. Any information regarding the characters, the weapons, the abilities, all of that is stored in the core so that you can access that information from anywhere programmatically. So all of these characters, they're totally fine. That's not the big deal. That's not the problem here. The problem that I'm facing with bringing this game to the 3DS is that the core references all the weapons here, and every time a character is set up, we have 8 characters on your team. For every single character that is set up, it creates logic. It instantiates the graphical data and then the hitbox data for all of the weapons. I have 100 weapons in the database. That includes the information for the abilities as well. And the problem is, on the 3DS, it crashes. It's working on the 3DS is very frustrating. Oh, hey Jimmy, how's it going? Good to see you. Yeah, so I'm going to share with you the process of how to fix a problem like this. This is not something that AI can do, and it's not something that AI will ever be able to do because AI is not capable of understanding. What's so great about being a human being is that you can understand things. You can gain a stronger understanding, a more fuller comprehension of something. You can improve, you can become better, and you can come up with new solutions. Coming up with new solutions is not something that AI can do. So why is the game crashing is because there just is not enough memory available. And there's not enough memory available because for every character that is being set up, every single ability is being instantiated, and I'll show you the code for that here. So if we look at our fragment domain player, we'll look at our logic here. And this is why it's so important. I'm going to start discussing the topic more, is that I want people to actually learn how to develop games, to learn how to program, because it is the act of doing things that allows you to learn, to become better, to gain a stronger understanding of something, to gain a fuller understanding of something. And when you ask AI to do it for you, you do not learn, you do not improve. It's the same thing as using a forklift. Sure, there's some jobs where you want to use a forklift, but if you want to, say for example, compete in a weightlifting contest, you want to go to the Olympics and be a weightlifter, well, if you use a forklift, you never actually get any stronger. All you're doing is letting a machine do the work for you. So if we take a look at the start here, we have setup character. Oh, hey, Kimchi Acid, good to see you. Dark Mark Zaku, good to see you. Are you Zaku like the Gundam? Is that the kind of Zaku? Going good. How's it going for yourself, Jimmy? It is 11:42 here at night, and I'm chilled out. I'm absolutely chilled out right now. I was just playing a little bit of... Oh, I don't have my 3DS here. I was just playing a little bit of Dragon Quest Monsters 3 on the 3DS. It is a fan translation. It was never officially translated. I've got about 2.5 hours in that game right now. I'm a new Dragon Warriors Dragon Quest fan. I'm liking the Dragon Quest Monsters. That one's fans translated. I was just listening to some vinyl records, just chilling out, relaxing, and I just want to get a little bit more work done here. So if you're just checking in, I'm glad you're here. Good to see you. I'm just going to share a bit of my workspace and problem solving and how to make something work in a situation where it just can't work. There's no way it can function. So we are looking at the script for the Fragment Domain player. Every single playable character, you have a party of 8. Every party member has this script. Okay, so we have setup character, and we load the character from the save data. Every character slot is determined so they can check which slot to check for the data. They refresh their character data reference. They refresh their equipment stats. If we keep scrolling down, we'll see assign auditionee. That sets up the graphics for the character. And if we keep scrolling down just a little bit more, we should see where am I setting up my weapons here? Okay, so my framework that I've built has a couple different equipment styles. This style is static stacked, and we want to set up our inventory values, and then let's see what's going on here. So we initialize the weapon. This is what's causing us problems. This is temporary. So when you want to remove code, your best practice is to comment it out. When you are working on your code, if you need to remove something, don't just remove it, especially if you are revising and trying out different approaches. Don't delete it. Comment it out so that you can come back to it later, or if you need to grab something out of it, you can just copy and paste it. This code is causing the game to crash on the 3DS. And again, if you're just checking in, what I'm doing is I'm porting Hero of Destiny right now. That's my latest game. And I'm bringing this to the 3DS and the PS Vita. The 3DS has minimal memory, and so when I run this game on the 3DS, it just crashes. Part of the reason it's crashing is because in the core, so we're iterating 4, and if you weren't aware, in Unity, 4 each causes huge problems. Not only does it cause performance issues, but it also can cause memory to leak in many situations. So we are iterating I is equal to 0, and then while I is less than... It's not while is something else, but I is less than core.weapons.length, and then we'll increment that I++, and we initialize the weapon. Now, the problem is that we are, again, every single entry in the core, let's take a look at our core again, we have 100 different weapons plus abilities, and it's going to instantiate 2 things. It's going to instantiate the graphics, and it's going to instantiate the logic, the frame data, the hitboxes. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to very briefly try to make it so that it only creates that data if the character has these weapons referenced in their database information. Okay, so allow weapon, let's see, instantiation. Okay, and that is false. Okay, and if you have any questions about game development or programming or cooking advice or photography or playing an instrument, just let me know. I enjoyed your fusions. Hey, Kimchi Acid, Dragon Ball Fusions, that, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's in my top 10 favorite RPGs of all time. It's so cool, just being able to fuse a bunch of different characters together. I really like it. Luke Bauer, hey, how's it going? I worked in an indie studio for a while, and they were creating a 2D game in Unreal Engine 4 instead of Unity. It was a terrible mistake. The game ended up being canceled. That is one of the strengths that Unity has over Unreal, is that Unity is better suited for 2D games. Game Maker is also better suited for 2D games. Unreal, if you're doing like a photorealistic 3D game with complex graphics, that's where Unreal shines, because every engine has strengths and weaknesses. Every engine has quirks. So right now we are going to have this here, just an argument, and if we allow the weapon instantiation, if that's allowed. Let me know if the music is ever too loud at any point. It is 11:48 p.m. here for me. What time is it for you guys? Okay, so if the weapon is allowed to instantiate, we're going to have a second iterator here as well. So if it's allowed, then do that, and if it's not, then what we're going to do is this is a little trick that I'll share with you. I call this an ASDIF tag. I just roll my fingers across the keyboard and put ASDF, because there's never a situation where I would ever have that be part of anything. And if I leave that there, you can see that it will, in Visual Studio, it'll underline that as an error, and you'll see here that it will indicate that there is an error in the code, so I can quickly find that. And the reason why I leave an ASDIF tag is so I can return to that spot very quickly. This is something that saves me a lot of time rather than trying to remember where that is or do anything else. So what I want to do is actually check the code for initialize weapon, and what I need to find is where it actually adds the entry into the list. And this is the list. It is an array that can be adjusted, which is what a list is, and you can have a list of all of your combat actions that have been basically added to your combatant. So let's see, target list. That's what I want. Combatant.actions. There we go. And then the ASDIF tag, it let me roll all the way back up there. So what we're doing is, if I'm allowed to instantiate the weapon, then it will instantiate the graphics and the hitbox data. But if this is not allowed, then it will not instantiate it, but it will still add an entry in my actions list, and then it'll make it blank. Now I need to write logic to let me know whether or not this is allowed. And again, I'm doing this to stop the game from creating all of the graphics and the hitbox data, because it's causing the 3DS to crash. Jimmy Silverhand. Oh, heck yeah, the Dragon Quest monster games look really fun, but I'm glad. Yeah, you know, I'm kind of a sucker for any kind of monster game, unfortunately. You know, we all have weak spots. And my weak spot is monster games, and it's, you know, it wasn't just from Pokemon. You know, I was playing the Tamagotchi, and then I played Digimon, the virtual pets, before Pokemon. I've seen people argue online and say, "Oh no, Pokemon came first," and these people obviously are reading the Wikipedia entry and they're seeing that Pokemon launched in Japan, but in the West we didn't have Pokemon. We had the Digimon virtual pets first. Yeah, and anything with monsters in it, I'm gonna play it. I'm such a sucker for monster games. Garu 1911. Hey, how's it going? Dragon Quest monsters are great games. I've played some of them for the Game Boy Color and for the DS. There were none on the Game Boy Advance, if I remember that correctly, which is a real bummer, because the Game Boy Advance is really a fantastic console, but I think it was only really actively on its own for about 2 years in between the Game Boy Color and the DS or something like that. It was such a short turnaround when Nintendo went from the Game Boy Color to the DS. I think the Game Boy Advance really only had like two or 3 years before they went straight to the DS. Dark Mark-Zako, I hope we get 4, 5, and 6 remake announced on Dragon Quest Day. They're hard to get in modern day, and I'd like to experience them. 4, 5, and 6 are available on the DS, but again, they're hard to find. If you're lucky, you'll bump into it in like a pawn shop. But they're great. They're great on the DS. There was something really magical about the DS. I think that might be this is it's hard to make a blanket statement like this, but I would say the DS might be the best consoles for JRPGs. You know, we got the Final Fantasy III remake, which I'll fight. I'll fight on behalf of Final Fantasy III, the 3D remake. That's a damn good game. I really like that. Final Fantasy IV 3D remake, you know, but the PSP does have the Final Fantasy 1 and 2 remake. And yeah, I know everyone says 2 sucks, but I really like Final Fantasy 2. And then you have the Final Fantasy 4 remake on the PSP. Oh man, and if you had the PSP and the DS and you had both Final Fantasy 4s, it's like what this is what RPG fans want. The PSP had brilliant Final Fantasy games. DS had brilliant RPGs in general, you know. 6:48 a.m. Hey, Prairie Ghost Ken, how's it going? Good to see you. Hey Sarah, how's it going? As a Barasoki, as a 3D environment artist, seeing you code blows my mind. It's really cool seeing other people's expertise. I'm subscribed to a ton of YouTube channels where I have no interest in this thing. There's like a bunch of, you know, like people that specialize in woodworking, and it's like I can do basic woodworking stuff, but I see people that's their career, and I could watch that, you know, for hours. It's just so interesting seeing people talk about the thing that they're really good at and they're experienced at. And when it comes to game development, I do absolutely everything except shader programming. I can do shader modification, but I can't do shader programming. A friend of mine can do shader programming. I'm really bad at it. I can understand it enough to where I can modify it. I can optimize it for certain platforms. Right, so what I want to do again is with my weapon instantiation, I want to check. So if we have a look at our database here, and this isn't part of Unity, this is the framework that I built. When you play this game, Hero of Destiny was killed by the final boss, you see the logo, Fragment Domain, and it's a framework I built specifically to allow me to make these kind of games. I can make them complex and deep, and I can make them very quickly thanks to this framework. So if we look at our character data, and I'm going to click out of that now because when my save data is being displayed in the inspector, Unity lags because there's a lot of data in there. So I will go to, I'll close that, there's duplicate data in there. So this is a scriptable object. And if, say for example, like take a look at the accountant, you can see all of his stats are available here. All of the characters have the same basic stats, but if this were a different game, each character would have their own unique stat spreads. But in this game, they all have the same base, very low stats. And so what I want to do is check two things. I want to check their weapon chains. So you can see I have weapon chains in this game. Every character has 2 weapons. You can see that they have book and torch, but the framework actually allows me to have, I can change this number to whatever I want. But those are just the chains, and you can actually have multiple weapons in that chain. So you see how this character can use the book and the torch. If I wanted, I could put other weapons in there. And instead of just the book, he can use other things. But if I were making another RPG, that's what I would do. So we want to check weapon chain 1 and weapon chain 2 and see if those exist in there. And then if that weapon exists in there, then we will set that to true. Then if not, you know, it'll equal false, right? So we want to do that. So I think I have II already. For II is equal to 0. One of the worst mistakes you can do is accidentally, say for example, you know, accidentally, so you do that is less than, you know, like 5 or whatever, and then you mess up, and then you increment this value instead of the II. You could make a huge mistake, so you need to be very, very careful with what you do. Okay, so this value actually needs to be get character data? No, get hero in party. No, where's my character data? Character database data? Yeah, I've got that referenced. Okay. Weapon chain 1 dot length Okay, so now we're first going to check Weapon Chain 1. Prairie goes, Ken, Digimon was goated my generation. I started playing Digimon Survive a couple weeks ago, and I've been so busy with work that I haven't. I did an episode about it. I would like to do more episodes. People did say that they wanted me to do more. It's so tough because I have to focus on my game development. But I'd like to just hang out and talk about games with you guys, but I have to work, so I will do more episodes playing Digimon Survive. But yeah, I missed out on a lot of Digimon stuff over the years because once I got into high school, I wasn't watching the Digimon anime or doing Digimon stuff. I wasn't playing the Digimon games. Only recently I got back into it because Time Stranger is so good. Time Stranger is easily one of my favorite JRPGs now. Hey, Elenon, how's it going? Good to see you. I wonder what future Gohan and an adult Gohan would look like. Oh, that's interesting. Future Gohan's hair is really cool because he's got the shortcut. That's the only time. That's how we know that's future Gohan. It's pretty short, and then it sort of spikes off to the side. Jimmy Silverhand, I feel you there. I got heavy into Digimon virtual pets over the past year or two. I love Pokemon, and I do have Dragon Quest Monsters Joker and the Dark Prince, but haven't given either a proper shot yet. I'm an idiot because I was at a pawn shop the other day, and I saw Dragon Quest Monsters Joker for the Switch, and I saw it for $35 Australian, which would be about 27, 28 US, and I didn't buy it. I walked out, and I've been thinking about it, and I'm thinking, what a stupid idiot. Why didn't you buy it? Because that's obviously, I like that kind of game. That's exactly the kind of game that I want. And I was thinking, oh, no, I'm too busy with work. I've got to just focus on my game development. But now I'm sitting here thinking I should have bought Dragon Quest Monsters Joker for the Switch when I saw it. PSP had the best GPS at the time. Kimchi Acid, I had the PSP module. I had the GPS on the PSP. I did actually use it a couple times. Hey, Cornbean, how's it going? Good to see you. Locktron, how's it going? Hey, Deathbob, good to see you. Yeah, it's midnight right now. It's 12:59, so I'm chilling. I tend to work pretty late on my game development, but I thought it'd be cool to just hang out with you guys and discuss this and show you my workspace here. Dark Mark Zaku, I've been wondering how you tackle level progression through a game. In the case of RPGs, I wanted to know your thought process. So what do you mean when, okay, so Dark Mark Zaku, when you say level progression, do you mean by RPGs levels, like the character level, or do you mean the environment level in terms of difficulty? Tommy516, yes, I'm in New South Wales. It is midnight right now. I was working until 3 a.m. Last night, and the problem is I'll wake up at a normal hour anyway, and then I'll think about the work that I was doing the night before, and I'll think, all right, I got to get straight back to it. I got to get my work done. And then sometimes I'll go, a few days in a row and I won't upload an episode for the channel. I feel really bad because people tell me that they just really enjoy the chill vibe. They like the fun videos. And so I feel really bad when I don't upload, but sometimes when I'm focused on my work, it's just I can't step away from my stuff, So what I want to do is I just want to check if the weapon in the weapon chain is the same as the core weapon. So this is really easy. All I have to do is if core weapon I is equal, and it's fine to copy and paste. Copy and paste is there for a reason. It saves you typing. So let's see. The weapon chain, hold on. And now we have to put I. So if you're wondering what this is a list or it's an array. And this little bit here that's in the brackets, you're asking for that particular spot. So if we look at our character's weapon chain, I, and then we will, let's say that's, for example, that this is going to go through every single entry in weapon chain 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we look at here, so it's going to check this one, then it'll check that one, then that one, then that one, then that one. So it's seeing if it's the same. If it's the same, then it will instantiate it, okay? And so if that equals that, this is work that I would be able to get done very, very fast, but because I'm chatting with you guys, it's a little bit slower, but that's not a problem. We're here to hang out, and I can share my workspace with you. But we also want to check weapon chain 2 as well. So after we finish that, we'll check weapon chain 2. Again, it's perfectly fine to copy and paste. It's not cheating. Copy and pasting is there for a reason, so use it. Absolutely use it. Let's see, I'll put on just some chill music. Check weapon chain 1. And if you don't do programming or you're just starting or learning out, comments are absolutely vital. And comments improve readability. Readability is absurdly important. Otherwise, you're looking at stuff where it can just look like an absolute dog's breakfast, right? But you see how you can do this? Anything that's green like that means that it is not code that is executed. It is just there for the programmer to understand what's going on. You can put whatever's you want in here. This is to improve readability. This doesn't even need to say that. You can have that say, your mother is a dog. It can say whatever you want. It won't be executed in the code. It's just so you can understand what's going on to increase readability. So I'm just going to put that in there. I mean, this is just an example. This is so big. I would only put a comment in there, and this is called a comment. I would only put that in there if I knew that it was something that I need to come back to often, but I know that I'm never going to need to look at this logic again. You will know. It's as you do the work, as you program, you will develop your understanding, you will develop your skill, you become a stronger programmer, and you will know whether or not whether code you write is something you need to come back to or not. I'll never, ever need to look at this ever again, so I don't need to comment that. Okay, so we're going to look at this code here, and for now, we want to make sure that the code's functioning, so we're going to do a test, okay? So first, we're just going to say that this is true. And right now, I've commented that out. Again, don't delete your code. Comment it out so you can restore it later. This lets me comment anything between those. So we're going to run a test. And what's going to happen when we run the game is that we're going to see every single weapon in the database is going to be instantiated, and we're going to see a ton of entries here. So let's go ahead and run, and then we'll see that. II as the inside variable to increment instead of I or J, correct. That incrementing variable can be whatever you need it to be. I'm already using I right now, and so I know that when I have a nested increment, then I will use II instead. Okay. And now, just like I said, if we take a look, we have all of these attack zones instantiated, see? And this is what's causing the game to crash on the 3DS. The 3DS just can't handle all of this. It's obnoxious because it doesn't seem like it's that much, but on the 3DS, it is too much. Not only that, but we have the graphics. The character actually has all of the graphics hidden inside of his body, which sounds creepy. This is Loctron, yes, this is C#. It is the best programming language that I've used. I've used many, and some are obnoxious and terrible and they suck, and then you have C#, and ooh yeah, C# are fantastic. Ratikusu V2 comments are literal bookmarks that include context. Very handy, especially between sessions. Yeah, that's a fantastic comment, because sometimes you'll forget. You'll come back weeks or months later, and then you'll forget what something was for. So it's important that you put comments in there. It's important to know when you're making something where you think, I might forget what this means later on. So now we're going to remove the comment marks on that, and that will make our code functional. This is what we've just done. Make sure we remove that. And now what we'll see is when we run this, you're going to see significantly less. You should only see 2 in there because he only has 2 different weapons. Oh, but it might do it multiple times. I think it'll do it multiple times because it's already added in there. Okay, let's go ahead and run it, and we'll see. Now you're not going to see 100 in there. You're going to see, let's see. There's less than there were before. There's way less, but there's still too many. Nope, there's still a ton there. There's less than there were before, but there's still too many. No, there's still a ton. There's still a ton in there. And so what is going on Can anyone in the comments, I'll give 50 points to anyone who can identify what went wrong with this logic. So here's where we instantiate the variable and we assign the default value. And then here is the iteration where we iterate over and over again. Who in the comments can identify what went wrong because it's not functioning? What this is supposed to do is stop the game from instantiating every single weapon in the database. Currently, we have the code that should work, but it is still instantiating every single weapon in the database. So in the comments, does anybody know why it's not doing what we expect it to do? Oh, my screen is too small to analyze. Sorry. If you're watching this on a phone, it's going to be actually I should do this. I could zoom in there. It's very close to Java syntax, but I saw the CS on the final file name. Yeah, if you can use Java, if you can go back and forth between different programming languages. Sometimes I'll have to program in other stuff, Java, JavaScript, C. There's Objective-C, which is objectively the worst C. With commenting, you can later use a tool to create great documentation. Yeah, it's important, especially if other people are doing the work. You choose II, which is a personal choice, and I find neat. Well, the reason I'm using II is because it's inside of this iteration that's using I. Hey, Less Than Pi, good to see you. Yeah, so if anyone wasn't able to figure it out, the reason why it's still instantiating every single weapon is because once this is assigned to true, it's always true. If it's fulfilled one time, it's going to be fulfilled every single time. And so what we should do is actually take this and we will set it to false, and now it'll function. Oh, Phantom GB, hey, how's it going? So the reason why we don't do this, why we don't just declare it in there, ooh, I got my caps lock on. The reason why we don't do that is because Unity is kind of broken. And if you declare things inside of for loops, it can cause huge memory leakage. So and it's depends on what you're like. If you did like a vector 3 or something, or if you have a class that is one of your custom classes that's serializable, and you put that in there, it is going to be a nightmare memory leakage. And on the 3DS, it'll crash like crazy. My dog is going crazy. My dog's going crazy out there. Good to see you, Less Than Pi. I should have given you another minute. So that's why we're not going to do that. That'll cause memory leakages and problems in Unity. Let's see. Yes, in our programs we have that problem too. Bez7IA. I don't know how to code, but I can sort of see how things work within compact code. This is not magic. You can learn, if this is something you want to do, you can absolutely learn how to do this. I'm going through it kind of fast, but I want to help people learn, and I'm going to start doing more instruction and teaching. I would like to help people learn it because it's not magic. And in all honesty, I'm not super intelligent. I have a normal, like a medium amount of intelligence. And I know that for a fact because I meet a lot of people, and I've met so many people who are way, way smarter than me. I know that I'm basically in the middle of the road when it comes to intelligence, and I can do this. And you can do this too. If this is something you want to do, you can do it. Okay, so if we run our code now, we'll run it, and we should see that we shouldn't get a ton. We should probably only get 6 and 6. There should probably be only 12 there because it's going to duplicate it. So let's go ahead and run it, and then we'll see what happens. But people think it is dark arts. It's like that. Anything that you don't understand, you'll think it's magic, And, let's see, we ran it. Oh, interesting. It didn't instantiate any. This is interesting. Now nothing showed up, right? So let's click on our player, our playable template. We want to click on combatant, and we want to look at actions. Have a look here. So it did work. See how it added a bunch of blanks in there? So that's what this is for. If the weapon instantiation is allowed, then it'll initialize the weapon. If it's not allowed, it'll add a blank spot. And it needs to have the blank spots because it has to be able to find the right position. If we look at this number, which is 23 here, for pause. If we take a look at that, it says number 23. If we look at our core database here on that just there, if we look at our weapons, if we look at spot 23, we'll see that hammer is referenced in the core database. Entry number 23 is hammer. And if we look at our player here, you'll see that in his references for his actions, number 23 is hammer, and his torch is there. Now, what I'm just going to do is now use my handy dandy PlayStation 5 controller, and I'm going to make sure that my weapons do function. So let's go ahead and try that. What we have to do is disable my script for the 3DS and put the PC controls. This feels so satisfying. This is so freaking satisfying when your code functions. So now, instead of the game crashing on the 3DS because it can't handle having 100 versions, 100 hitbox data and graphics instantiated, it won't crash anymore because now it has only instantiated the exact 2 that the character needs. Whereas in the version that you see running on, this game is currently available on Switch, PC, and Android. There's so much RAM available on those platforms, there's no need for me to do this. But the thing is, you have to understand how to solve problems like this because you will eventually get into situations where this problem exists, but it's scaled up. Scalability is a huge, huge issue with any kind of development. And if you can't figure out how to solve an issue like this, if you were to make this with AI, you would never, ever in a million years, if you asked AI to make this, you would never develop the ability to understand how to fix this problem. And it's going to be a big deal when people are going to use AI more and more. You're going to have people that will not have the ability to understand what they're doing. They will never be able to come up with their own solutions. And so it is so important for you to do this work. It does suck because you're going to spend years and years struggling, and it's going to be a bummer. But when you do it, you improve as not just as a developer, but as a person, because the things that you learn here, you can apply to so many other things in your life. It is the act of doing this stuff that helps you grow and learn how to solve problems. And the stuff, the skills that I've developed with programming, I've applied to other aspects of my life. And being able to solve a problem like this, you saw this solution. It looks so simple. This was a problem that was causing my 3DS to crash. These are the only lines of code, and this here. Those are all the lines of code that I needed to fix that. But if I had spent years letting AI make this for me, I would not understand this. I would not have been able to come up with a solution like this. So it's so important that you do the work yourself so that you develop an understanding. You have to develop your own ability. You have to level up your abilities so that you come up with the solutions, so that you get to create interesting ideas. Now it's always false. No, it worked. It worked. I tried to learn code with Godot script. I should use Godot more because people have asked me if I could sort of share advice and tips on Godot. I will look into it. Um, Akaimitsu. Okay, as you said, Akaimitsu one. As you said, it is not only Unity, but is a good idea to avoid creating variables within a loop. Correct. Yes, you're right. But it is safe to assign them within a loop. Yeah, a number of environments have similar problems. If code equals function, satisfaction equals true. Oh, you're right. Yeah, yeah. If the code functions, very satisfying. That's right. Have you ever played Game Dev Tycoon before? Hey, Ryan Dude, how's it going? I haven't. I don't know what that is, but I'll look that up. Game Dev Tycoon. as a game developer, it definitely helps for people who started with stuff like assembly. Oh man, assembly is one of my weaknesses. It's so important to me to keep improving my skills, to learn more and to work in different languages. I was making a game for the Pokemon Mini, which I've launched. You can download and play. You can play it on an actual Pokemon Mini hardware, or you can play it on an emulator. But I've made a game for the Pokemon Mini. I want to do more as well. Um, and I spent a year trying to make it in assembly, and I couldn't do it. And then I eventually found a compiler to where I could make the game in C. And then within like 4 days, I completed and finished the game. And I was talking to the Pokemon Mini development community, and I was talking to the guy that was actually creating the chips that I got the chip from to make the cartridge. And, after like 2 days, I asked him a couple questions directly. I DM'd him, and he said, "Oh, you're making a game?" And I just said, "Yeah, I just started coding it today," And he goes, "Oh, it's going to take a long time. It's going to be hard to do it," And then I spent the whole day programming, and then the morning on the second day, I sent him the ROM that I had created, and he goes, "Wait, you made this in 1 day?" And I said, "Yeah." And he says, "What the hell? How did you make that in 1 day?" And I was laughing, and I was like, because he's accustomed to people really struggling to create a game for the Pokemon Mini because it's tough. It's so tough. But because I'm always trying to make games for older platforms, and I'm always trying to improve my skill and my ability. I made basically the game was almost entirely done within 1 day, and it had the graphics and the programming and the logic and the battle system. And he was like, "What the hell, man? How did you make that in 1 day?" And I just thought it was really funny. Jimmy Silverhand, in a way, if you want something done right, do it yourself. That's it. That's the best way to say it. Phantom GB. I started with Basic back in the 90s. My dad bought me Visual Basic and a book to go with it. My first programming language that I used was actually GML in Game Maker. So what I'm going to do is just edit the save data, and I'm going to enable some of my other characters. But what I actually need to do now is let's go ahead and get rid of all the junk that I don't need. I don't need that stuff anymore. So see how I commented this out? Because this was causing the game to crash on the 3DS. It initialized weapon. What I'm going to do is remove that. So now I'll let it. But what I will do is actually I'll build the game for the 3DS, and then I will run it just to make sure that the game doesn't crash on the 3DS. And again, this isn't a big problem on other consoles, but on the 3DS, it is an absolute nightmare because Unity on the 3DS is super, super broken. We're going to run it one more time and just make sure that there are no error messages in the console. Sorry, this music kind of getting me hyped up. Let me just go to like more chill music. Okay, we check the console. No error messages. Okay, we're going to build it for the 3DS. I'm going to deploy it, and then I'll run it. So here's the thing, and I've been spending like the past 5 days just working on the 3DS port of Hero of Destiny. I'm putting it on the 3DS as it's going to be a free ROM, no monetization. You guys can download it, play it however you want. And then after today, I got to the middle of the day and I thought, shit, man, I cannot get this game to stop crashing. I can't get the game to run because it kept crashing. And then I commented out the code that instantiates the weapons, and I thought, shoot, man, I'm not going to waste time redesigning my entire database and weapon system just because it won't run on the 3DS. Like, I'm not going to make any money by putting this game on the 3DS. I've spent all this time only because the 3DS is cool as hell, and I want to give people something awesome to play, and that it's going to be free. And so I took a break, and then I was sitting there listening to like Jerry Lee Lewis and the Rolling Stones' "Let It Bleed" on vinyl record. And then while I was sitting there, that's when I thought about this solution. I was listening to Rolling Stones, and I thought, wait, why don't I just make it to where the game checks if that weapon can even be used by the character, and don't instantiate the weapon data unless the character can even use it to begin with. And then so I came up with a solution. So sometimes you just need to take a step away from your workspace for just a little bit. Sometimes you just need to listen to Rolling Stones, and then you'll have the headspace clear to where you can come up with a solution. Valdarko. As an artist, I can only do visual code. And you know what? It's excellent that we have solutions for visual coding. I'm so glad that is an option. I started with RPG Maker, and that is visual coding. Those are in blocks. And I went to Game Maker, and that has visual coding. And so if you don't do the main weakness with typing the code out is that you have to know what the functions are. And if you don't know what the functions are, you have to keep going back to the manual. And that's not a big deal because over time you will memorize it. But when you're first starting out, it's just not possible. So the best way to do programming, if you don't know all the stuff already, is to use visual programming. It's something that we've had for a very, very long time. And it's so good that we have it because it's the best way to learn. Locktron 90 fan. I can't count how many times I had this problem because of a lack of coffee. Yeah. If you start first thing in the morning when you start up, I think things are kind of rough. I need to cut back on caffeine. But I think when you start first thing in the morning, don't do the important coding because things are going to be rough. You got to have your first coffee. You just got to wake up a bit. Kimchi, I said, I'm just a script kitty. So what I wanted to do, I wanted because I found a way to stream I found a new way to stream 3DS. So I think it'd be cool to just do some live streams and we can play some games and hang out and talk. I don't have my retail 3DS with me. I've got a 3DS here that I use for testing and whatnot. You have built your mind for these times, even if someone accidentally Radikusu V2. Absolutely. You know what? You're absolutely right. Our brains are so malleable, but just like a character in a game, our brains are just like a character in a game where we have to choose what skill tree we want to follow. And the more that you pursue a particular skill tree, the more that your brain will develop and adapt. It's like following a job system. But the coolest thing about that is that when you get very far in a skill tree, down a job system, you go down a job and you're learning classes in the job, you can still change jobs, and the skills that you have in one job, like say you started out as a monk or whatever, and then you want to become a knight. There's some skills that you learn as a monk that will apply to when you want to switch over to being a knight. Those skills will translate across, and it's like that in real life. It's like that with developing skills as well. Okay, so I'm going to use a bunch of homebrew on my 3DS. Actually, no, this is one of my 3DSs, but I only use this one for testing development. I have my new 3DS. I kind of prefer the new 3DS. The smaller screen has a tighter pixel density, so I'm going to do a drag and drop, and I'm going to transfer the ROM across. So I've got my ROM here. Okay. And I'm using FTP to transfer it across. Put that on the screen a little bit. See, there's my ROM there. So if you're on my Patreon, what I'll do is I'll put the development ROMs. So if you're on my Patreon, you can play the development ROMs that I'm creating, and you can play the stuff early while it's in development. So in the next couple days, I'll upload this test ROM so you can just try Hero of Destiny on your 3DS. I have DS and I have other homebrew stuff that you can play on my Patreon. But it's like, the reason why I don't talk about Patreon so much is I don't want to, because not everyone has a bunch of disposable income, to contribute to Patreon, and I hate making people feel left out. So I don't use my Patreon that much, and I don't talk about it that much because I don't like making people feel left out. Marius, hey, how's it going? Hey, I missed the vlogs you used to do out hiking and talking about development. Hey, so you've been around for a while. I've been thinking about doing that stuff again, but I've been uploading so many videos regularly that I think I can do a more focused job in terms of sharing a devlog if I can sit in front of a screen and show you. But I was thinking about that, and I was thinking, I kind of miss doing that as well. And I think I'll probably do that again because I'm working on a lot of Silver Falls stuff right now, and I think I will do that. But I'm not going hiking as much right now. I used to go hiking significantly more often, and my only hiking partner, my friend, he's 80. He's 87. He's my only hiking partner right now because everyone my age is busy working and has a family, and they don't have time to go out hiking with me. And so, yeah, my only hiking partner for a very long time is 87. But now he's getting a bit older, and it's harder for him to get out hiking as much. We still go hiking, we still go walking, just not that often. So that's actually why I'm hiking much less. And I don't like hiking by myself. I'd rather go with a friend because then you have someone to talk to, you have someone to spend time with. So, but we used to go hiking every week or every other week. I'll put on some chill music, Empty Force. Okay, so now I'm gonna use my FBI to install the CIA. And again, I have to be really careful. I cannot tell you guys to hack your Nintendo consoles. That'd be pretty bad for me because I'm a business partner with Nintendo. So I'm not telling you to homebrew enable your console. I cannot tell you to do that. I cannot promote that. Yeah. Phantom GB, you have your coffee. Yeah, nice. It's too late at night for me for coffee. I cannot have coffee this late. It's 12:30 in the evening. Okay, Phantom GB. I think for me, I grew up with a dad who was an electronics engineer in the 80s. We had a computer in the house before it was common. Whoa, that would have been cool. That is what my love for this stuff is going forward in life. If I had a computer when I was younger where I knew that you could program, I would have started way, way sooner. We had a Tandy, an old Tandy. We played, like DOS games and whatnot. Bez 7i, is it more complicated to develop for 3DS? Oh, yes. Yes. It's the hardest console I've had to develop for, and I enjoy developing for other older platforms, but primarily what the difficulty is that Unity is broken. It's so broken, and that's what I use for 3DS. And you just have to know where everything is broken, and you have to know how to trick the engine into not crashing. So I'm going to run it. So I'm going to run it and just see if it crashes. We'll see if it crashes. Sometimes one of the huge problems with Unity on 3DS is sometimes it'll corrupt your build. It'll just randomize. It'll just garble up your compiled ROM, and then it's nothing that you've done wrong. It's something that Unity will just corrupt. And the bigger your project is, the more it'll corrupt it. And it's very problematic when you've promised Nintendo that you're going to produce some games and have them ready to ship at a certain date. And then that date comes rolling in, and Unity refuses to produce a functioning ROM because it keeps corrupting your game. It can get pretty hairy, but you know what? You gotta stay strong. You gotta stay positive, and you can't let stuff like that stop you from doing the work. Fuck yeah! You have to pardon my French. It didn't crash. And I say fuck yeah because I've been working on this for days and it has been crashing nonstop. So this is the Hero of Destiny running on the 3DS. It has not crashed, and it has not crashed because of the work that we did here on stream. Just a little bit of code that we showed you. So there it is. There's the game running on the 3DS. This means that there's going to be so much more work I have to do. Because now that this works, something else, I'm going to get to the next thing, and then it's going to crash because of something else. So there's a lot more work that I have to do. But the game, you can see it is functioning on the 3DS. It's not crashing. The solution that I thought up while taking a break from this and listening to my Rolling Stones vinyl record, the solution worked. I don't know. What was the Stranger Thing? I don't know. Development. Yeah. Uh, Voltu, isn't it kind of crazy to have a script with 2,000 lines? Why don't you split it up? No, 2,000 lines is small. No, splitting it up wouldn't achieve anything. Splitting it up, making it this is already as compact and small as it can be. I don't waste my time with fluff code. Fluff code is the wrong screen. Fluff code is code where it's not optimized. I've been developing for so long that one of my priorities is reducing fluff code. I don't have fluff code. And saying, "Oh, just split it up," that's not going to help. It's not going to achieve anything. Games are sometimes simple and sometimes they're complex. And this is a game that is complex. There's so much mechanical depth to the battle system, to the weapons, to the skill. there's nothing wrong with having 2,000, 10,000 lines of codes. Just because there's like 2,000, 3,000, 10,000 lines of code, that's only one script. There are other scripts. There's dozens of thousands of lines of code in here. There is no reason to be intimidated by that. There's no reason to look at it and say, "Oh, we should reduce it," because that's not going to make it any better. If you already develop and program with the idea of not having fluff code, like you have stuff like this where it's like I might need to come back and implement this later, but I comment it out. But no, splitting it up, doing all that, no. There's no benefit to it. There's no reason why you would want to do that. Akai Mitsu, my first experience of programming was hexadecimal. Whoa. Which directly translates to the same equivalent assembly level machine code instructions for the Studio 2 microprocessor. Dad was at EE at the FCC. Very cool. You know what is on my wish list is the Super Nintendo. Oh man, we don't have a very good compiler for Super Nintendo, but if we did, I would have had a Super Nintendo game out right now. I am developing stuff for the Game Gear and the Master System. There are engines for the Mega Drive. I should share that sometime. But they've now made something it's a little bit like GB Studio, and GB Studio is a drag and drop editor. It makes it so easy. Absolutely anyone can make a real Game Boy game with no experience. You don't need to be a programmer. You use a drag and drop interface. And when I say drag and drop, I'm not saying drag and drop. I'm saying drag and drop, dragon like a mythical creature. You use a drag and drop interface, and you can make yourself a GB game, a real, actual Game Boy game. You can run it on actual hardware. Radikusu V2, I had a TRS 80 Model 100 portable computer in middle school. I don't know what that is. I'm going to look that up. But you having a computer in middle school is crazy. Only ran on 4 AA batteries, had 32K of RAM, but it was my go-to because it was my first time to learn BASIC. Yeah, awesome. That's awesome. Study that manual cover to cover. My dad helped with some context as he used to do with Z80. Oh, Z80. Wow. What about the GBA? Oh yeah, no, there's stuff that you can use to develop for the GBA. I've deployed ROMs. I'm developing stuff for the GBA, and I have deployed ROMs on the GBA. I have hardware that lets me flash my own cartridges, so I can make physical cartridges. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to restore the code that I had commented out before. So here's a trick. I forgot where I was because I was scrolling up and down. What I'm going to do is undo. This is a trick that you can use as well. If I hit the undo button, it's actually going to move the cursor back to where I was working previously. So this is a little trick that you can use for yourself. I'll undo, and it brought me back right here. This is where I want to be. Let's go ahead and redo. And that way, okay. So special attacks, that's what I want. So I had that was commented out before. If it's commented out, it means it won't execute the code. Now it is restored, so if I let the game populate the play session with the special attack data, let's just see how much stuff shows up down here. And we'll be able to tell if it's going to crash the 3DS or not. Phantom GB, a dragon flies into my room and makes the game. Almost. It's a little bit like that, yeah. Super Famicom had RPG Maker. IDK about SNES. I absolutely used that ROM. I tried to use that ROM, decades. I say decades because that's what it was decades ago. Okay, and let's have a look. So let's see. This is still too much. So I don't like how much. See? On other consoles, it absolutely doesn't matter because there's so much RAM, but on the 3DS, I know this will crash the 3D. Well, this won't crash this, but if I had a second character here, it would crash the 3DS. I know that for a fact. So what we're going to do is just use the exact same logic that we used to optimize our code the first time. And what we did was this. We checked to see if that data is referenced by the character's database. And we can do that by copying and pasting. Again, copying and pasting is not cheating. It's there for a reason. Use it. Copy and paste. But now we're not looking in the weapon chain. We want to look in the special attacks. Special attack. I just want to double check that I'm getting this right. So let's go ahead and look at our class again. It doesn't matter which one. So if we have a look here, special attack, correct. That is the one. Actions, abilities, special attack. We just want to make sure that we are referencing the correct property. Okay, so special attack. Okay, but we don't want. Oh, hold on. No, there's no need to do that. You see, there's no need to do that. But hold on, we want this. If I is less than core dot max ability count, max ability count, ability. What I'm trying to do is get the maximum number of abilities that are available, and so I'm just now I'm hunting, and hunting is something that you should try to avoid, but sometimes you will have to hunt. So what I'm going to do is game manager dot room manager dot no menu menu gameplay HUD dot max party ability. That's what I wanted. It's clumsy, you know, but you I've seen other developers online and I've seen that they're fake. And it really that's why I want to share this process with you guys is it's important that we see what real programming looks like, and it's not always pretty. And sometimes we see people online get very famous, um, and they're fakes. They're not real programmers. They're posers. And you have to understand sometimes programming is messy and ugly. And what you saw there was pretty ugly. That was hunting, and I was hunting for this max party ability. That is a value that I can assign, and in this game, it's set to 2, but this is a framework that I built. And if I change that value in in my framework, if I change that value, you know, if you've played this game, you know that your characters only have 2 abilities. So I can change that. So this way, this code is still functional, you know, even if I change that value. So if I is less than the max party ability, which is 2, right? And that's the entry in the array. Otherwise, you'd want it, you know, equals, but we'll not do that. So that was pretty ugly, but you know what? Sometimes programming is ugly and messy. Akamizu, I guess the issue is that the GBA may not have the audio that the SNES had. I have deployed music to the GBA. What I did was I used a sequencer called Milky Tracker to make music for the Game Boy. So I have shipped a game on the Game Boy, not commercially. It's free. It's Silver Falls Galaxy Bound Curse. You can download it and play it for free from my itch.io. It's a massive game. It's an action RPG. It's got a soundtrack that I created in Milky Tracker. I'm just going to run this now, and then we'll see if we have less stuff that's being instantiated. And to make music for the GBA, I actually used the same format, but it actually, when you do that, it asks for like a sample for the wave, so you can have different sounding instruments. If we take a look, you'll see that we have less stuff. There isn't as much. There's less. Okay, that should be fine. That'll probably be okay. Even with 8 characters, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times 8 is 64, which is the Nintendo 64, and I think that confirms Half-Life 3. We did it. No, 8 times 8 is 46. Right? Did I get that right? It's so late at night right now. 8 times 8? Oh man, it's 12:41. You'll have to excuse me if my times table is off. 64. Thank you. It's so late at night, guys. It's 12:41. Sorry. Uh It is checking the value is less than the max. That's correct. Yeah. It is so good to see. You got to go run some errands. I'll probably wrap up pretty soon. It was great to hang out. Thanks, Phantom GB. We'll see you around. And where I get that value, if we have a look at our game, this is the gameplay heads-up display here. Um, this is that value. See the max party ability. So I'll show you what happens. I'll show if you played the game, then you already know what I'm talking about. But what we'll do is we'll just run it so we can make a point here, and I can show you how it works. So we'll run it. Like a chess. Oh yeah, it is like a. I wanted this to look like the dungeons from the first Zelda. You know, I wanted to sort of evoke that memory. So what we're gonna do is just check my playable template. So put that on there, and if I open my menu, see we have those two. Because I've defined the characters only have two abilities, but I did not just program this one game. This game that we're looking at is the Hero of Destiny was killed by the final boss. I didn't program it to be one game. I programmed an entire game framework so that I can make a ton of my upcoming games are going to be using this framework called Fragment Domain. And so I had to build in a lot of functionality. So when I make games that use this framework, they can be different. They won't be the same game over and over again. So let's go ahead and take a look at our uh, gameplay heads-up display. So that max party ability, that's where we see 2. If we change this to 5, you're going to see 5 slots show up. So let's go ahead and then run the game again. And when I open my ability menu, you will see that there's going to be more slots available. 8 times 8 is 6. I don't know. My math gets worse when it gets really late at night. It stops working properly. Okay. So that didn't work properly, but there'll be some things somewhere where I just have to click a thing and then it'll adjust. Anyway, that's the point of that, but yeah. 6, I don't know. Oh, you know what? That number is actually that's gonna be defined in another spot as well. That's probably why it didn't work. Hold on. If we go to the core is where I can define the behavior of the game overall. Again, this is the database core. Let's see if that value is mentioned anywhere else as well. These are custom Silver Falls whiskey glasses. A lot of people um, have supported me over the years playing my Silver Falls games. For a while, I was selling a ton of Silver Falls merch. This Silver Falls whiskey glasses was one of the merch that you could get. It's not available right now. When I launch my next Silver Falls game, I'll put a bunch of merch back up available for purchase. But this is the Silver Falls Dusty Cactus whiskey glass that you can get for yourself. Let's just see if that value is referenced anywhere else. And I need to close that script because it's causing Unity to lag. There's just so much uh, in the save data. It is you see it chugging. It is stuck. When you mentioned about samples on the GB, I guess you were using a tracker like kind of like one on the Amiga. You know what? I'll open it. Let me find it. It's on this computer. I don't know where I put Milky Tracker. I It's not installed. Milky Tracker is something that you just unzip and put into a folder. Oh, Bing opened. Oh, gross. Yucko. Microsoft Edge and Bing just opened. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Sick. I've made entire soundtracks using trackers. Yeah, they're fun, they're interesting, and they're way harder than using a modern digital audio workspace. I normally use Studio One for my music, and by normally I mean always, unless I need to track the music, then I'll use Milky Tracker. Let's see here. See, there's some things that I need to clean out here. Like this doesn't need to be here anymore. Like this is base active party size. That doesn't actually that's not used. That doesn't need to be. reference, so I need to remove that. Let's see. Max team member ability count. See how that says 2? I'm going to change that to 5 in the core, and then I'll change it to 5 here, and then we'll see if it works. So, yeah, and I'm so excited to have this framework because it means that I can just make games. I can make more games for people, and I can make it faster. So I've spent a very long time working on this framework, and I just want to keep making games for people. I've got a bunch of stuff that's in development that I think this is really cool. I think people would like it, and thanks to this framework, I'll be able to make my games way faster. So now it works properly. You see how up there how I have more ability slots, whereas in the actual game you only have the 2. But because I changed the value in the core, you see that you now have 5 slots. I need to make a variation of this ability menu where it opens a vertical menu and it has the name of the ability, because this game framework can make more traditional style RPGs. I want to make games where you bump into an enemy in the environment and then it locks you into arena, and then your party, you're locked in that arena, and then you have to deal with that enemy. Whereas this one is more open, like a traditional action RPG. Kim Jason. Hey, they're my alma mater, but yeah, even we don't use Edge. I thought Edge was okay for a while. I thought it wasn't that bad, but Firefox is good. Chrome is getting way worse because Google keeps jamming AI, and they keep spying on you and reporting your data. So Chrome's getting way worse, but Firefox is really good. I'm gonna start using Ice Dragon again, not because it's good, but because it has a really cool name. Um, if you're not aware of Ice Dragon, I'll just bring it up here. Um, Ice Dragon browser. Ice Dragon is based on Firefox. It is a web browser that I know literally nothing about. I could not tell you what is good or what is bad about Ice Dragon other than the name is so metal. I like the name. I really like the name of Ice Dragon. So that's the only reason I have it installed on my computer. I have it installed. I don't use it that much, but I'm getting sick of Chrome, so I'm going to be using Ice Dragon more often. Entirely because the name is awesome. Libre Wolf. What is that? Libre Wolf. I've never heard of that. I'm going to look that up. Libre Wolf? Okay, let's look at that. Oh, it's like a custom independent version of Firefox. There's WaterFox as well. WaterFox browser. I've used WaterFox before because the name is cool. And only because the name is cool, because it's the opposite of Firefox. Hey, Barry, how's it going? Use Thunder Elephant. There's no way that Thunder Elephant is a browser. There's no way. You're messing with me. You're messing with me, right? I don't see Thunder Elephant as a browser. I think you're messing with me. But it sounds really cool. If someone makes something with a cool name, I'm kind of a sucker for cool names. I want Thunder Elephant to be a browser. Someone needs to fork Firefox and make Thunder Elephant because I want it. I want it. I want what I want. And now I want Thunder Elephant. What about Vivaldi? Is that a browser? I haven't heard of Vivaldi. Okay, so uh yeah, actually I didn't even pay attention to the optimization that we just put in. Let's go ahead and run it. We actually have to look at the optimization now. I'll look up Vivaldi browser. Hold on. I'm typing here. Hey, I'm typing here. Vivaldi browser. Okay. Makes it sound musical. It's Norwegian. I don't even have a Norwegian friend. Sometimes I feel like I seek out to make a friend from a different country because I don't have a friend from that country yet. And it's like I want to learn more about that country. I want to know more about the culture, and then I'll try and you know, if I meet someone from that, and it's like, oh, hey, let's be friends. Tell me more about your country. I don't know anything about Norway. I don't have any Norwegian friends. I'm gonna be honest. This guy looks kind of lame. You look at Ice Dragon, you know, and you open up the page, it's like Ice Dragon. This guy, who is this guy even? Kimchi Acid. I made up a programming company named back in college. Candy coding, candy coding, candy coated, sugar coated, sugar coated. Okay, if we have a look, see, it's still, we still have quite a few. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I don't like that it is instantiated 16 things though. So I'm still actually going to do work here. So I'm going to, and so this is, so actually going back to what the topic of the evening is, but it's like we don't have to do just work, you know, we're here to hang out really. But what we're going to do is another trick with programming is to use a debugging log. So debug.log, and we're just going to say instantiating count, and then we'll go I. There we go. And what we're going to do is we're just going to send a debugging code output, and we will see uh, how many times this is actually occurring, so we can tell what it is. Skill. You know, actually, they're called abilities in this game. Ability. All right, and what we want to do is initialize. So we're double checking how many times this is occurring. Okay, that's it. Weapon. It's important to use debug code, debug output, just debug flags, to help you figure out what is going wrong. If your code is doing something that you do not want it to do, then it's important to use your debugging code for that. Impact, put me in your game. Yeah, you know what? One day you'll. Oh, you know what? We'll put you in the Sungrand Virtual Studio, which I haven't done. I haven't updated that in months, and I should have. Okay, so here we go. We have weapon count 1 and 2. Okay, and we have abilities 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we have more than that. 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is a total of 5, which is bizarre to me. That's bizarre. Would have been nice if you went through it and got that name well before King made those Candy Crush games. Oh yeah, it would be yet another example of why they can't trademark the word candy. Are they trademarking the word candy? Because they did not invent the word candy nor the concept of candy. Candy is something we've had for a long time. Okay. So this is interesting. Okay. We're looking at our code and we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, and do you know why that's happening 5 times? Because we told it to do it 5 times. We said that the game has 5 abilities for each character. So we go back to where we put in 5 and we return it to what it's supposed to be, which is 2. And we'll just double check that our heads up display also has the right number 2. And if we run it, we should only see that count 0 and count 1. That should happen like that. There we go. As expected, 0 and 1. And if we have that, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. And if we have 7 times 8, we should have 56. 7 times 8 is 56. It's almost 1 a.m. I might have that wrong. 56, did I get it? Thank you. Yeah, I think the 3DS could handle 56 of those and not crash. So I think we should be okay. Okay. And now how we're going to brute force check this is we're going to edit our save data. Because this is my game, I'm allowed to edit the save data to whatever I want. So we will go here. It's going to get very sluggish. Once I open the script for the save data, it's going to get sluggish because Unity sometimes just doesn't like the amount of stuff you have in there. What I want to open the character and party ID. Should it be 56 minus 1? Um, Let me think. I'm sure you've answered this before, but how long was development time on the heroes? The framework itself took about a bit more than a year and a half for the framework, all of the programming that the game runs on. That was about a year and a half, and then the Hero of Destiny was about, I think it was 5 months just on the Hero of Destiny stuff. Between 4 and 5 months for just the Hero of Destiny. So, yeah, close to 2 years. So I'm editing the character and party ID just so I have more party members. So I need to see if it works properly. To Because the first addressable value is 0. That's correct. With the actual number of a range that includes 0 in the range, but 56 is the amount. Yes, but then it it depends because you have this. You have the uh what you're checking is less than, and I generally don't do, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do the equals, you would just do less than. So if it's less than the length, then it's fine. It doesn't matter. Oh no, but the value, the 56 that I'm mentioning that's not in the code. That is I'm pretty sure the 3DS won't crash if I have 56 of those instances created. That's where my number is coming from. 56 is it's not anything that's in the program. I think the 3DS won't crash with that amount of stuff in there, but we'll see because it could. It very well could still. So I'm just putting more party members in. Let's just put in a couple and then we'll see what happens. Oops, hold on. See how sluggish it is? It just doesn't like having this open because there's a lot in the save data. Unity is freaking out, man. There's 6 party members. Okay. I'm just sitting and waiting. Okay. Yeah. Please, if I close that, it should stop freaking out. Okay, what I'm going to do is deploy this to the 3DS, and we're just going to see if it crashes. And if it crashes, hey, I'm going to have to do more optimizing if it crashes. Okay. And all of this, I'm not going to make any money off of this. I don't monetize this stuff. If I did, Nintendo would tell me to stop doing homebrew games. If I ever reached a point where I said to you guys, "Oh, I released a homebrew game and it costs $5," Nintendo would call me directly and they would say, "Stop doing that. You can't do that." So, as long as I just do this stuff for free, I'm not going to make any money off this. It's just because I think it's cool to do this. It's important for me to keep sharpening my skills like this because if I don't do this, I'm going to get sloppy and sluggish. So you sharpen your skills, and the 3DS freaking rocks. People like playing the 3DS. I still like playing the 3DS. If I can give people another 3DS game to play, then that's cool. So that's why I do it. But yeah, for many years, a miscalculation of mixing the amount with the actual reference number goes back to assembly code. Oh yeah, it's a nightmare if you get that wrong. But that's part of my. It's built into my coding style subconsciously is to never make that mistake with the length of a list or an array. I'll never make that mistake because it's drilled into my thought process. Um, In stuff like Midway's Sinistar, it uses twos, complement, and a failed check, made a condition where a kid could get a ton of lives. I kind of like cheat codes like that, where you could get a bunch of extra lives, because then you get to not die before you beat the game. It lets you actually get through the whole game. It is 1 a.m. I'm gonna run this test, and then I'm gonna get some sleep because last night I was up late. I was working on this, and I was last night I was in like a really uh fiery focused mood because it was still crashing last night. The game wasn't running, and I kept trying a bunch of things, and I there was other reasons why it was crashing as well. This wasn't the only reason why it was crashing on 3DS. So, all right, I'm waiting for this to finish building, and then we'll run it. So, yeah, the next time we live stream, we'll play some games. We can talk about more stuff. The funny thing was that this happened with the arcade version. Oh, glitches in the arcade version are the best because you can show people the glitches. So a game that cost a quarter to play was immense. Oh, yeah, that's bad. If people can get infinite lives on an arcade game, it's pretty bad. Oh, here we go. It's the build is about finished here, so we're waiting for the build. And this is fast. Unity 5 is the fastest version of Unity, so that's why I use it. When I ship a game on the Switch, I have to use the newest version of Unity, and it is a nightmare. It keeps stopping. If you click on one thing, like if I did this in Unity 6, I click on that, and then it would stop and it go, hold on, Unity is busy. And you go, what is it busy with? You know, and there's no transparency. It's a nightmare. Whereas with Unity 5, I can work extremely fast. So I do all of my games in Unity 5, and then I bring it up to Unity 6 afterward, and I just deal with the nightmare then at that point. Every time Unity makes a new version of their editor, it is way worse than the last. It is so much worse. But now we have generative AI, and they can shove it in your face. Oh, here, have this generative AI, but the engine itself is way worse than it was before. It's way slower, it's sluggish, your games have worse performance. Cool. I'm so glad that my game has worse performance now, but at least people who don't actually want to learn programming get to use an AI prompt and pay Unity to use their AI prompts. Cool. Cool, man. It's going to get to a point where if Unity keeps going down this route where I'm just going to switch to a different engine and I'll stop using Unity because it's stupid. It is stupid using an engine where the company making it refuses to actually make the game engine. All they're doing is just adding bloat and it makes the engine worse. And I'll use Godot and Unreal for my different games in the future because Unity is not going to get better. They're going to keep making their engine worse. Have you seen the anime High Score Girl? I have not. I haven't seen that. I haven't picked up a new anime in a while. It's every few months I like to try and find one that I haven't. I just try and pick one up and then watch. I've been so busy with work, I haven't picked up a new anime, and part of it, a lot of that has to do with I'm very behind on Super Sentai. I'm behind by like 5 years, 5 or 6 years on Super Sentai, and everyone's so bummed out that Super Sentai has been canceled now, and that they're no longer producing it. And personally, I'm glad because it means I'm not falling behind anymore. So over time, I will catch up, but I want to catch up on Super Sentai before I pick up any new anime. But it's difficult because I can't. I have to sit there and read the subtitles, and I'm so busy with my development with my own games that I can't watch stuff that requires subtitles. You know what I mean? You feel that? I know I really vented. You're seeing me vent because it's late at night, and now I'm just in chill mode, and you're seeing me vent. But I'm really frustrated with Unity because they should be making their engine better and they're not. So I'm gonna let it go now. I've vented. You've heard me get really frustrated. But between Unity 5 and Unity 2019, great game engine. Really great editor. Okay, I'm gonna run this. We'll see if it crashes. I don't know if it's gonna crash it. I didn't even test it. I should have tested it here first. If I run this, I should see multiple characters show up if I run it on here on the screen. I'm gonna be behind for eons with Kamen Rider. Oh, I've been wanting to watch Kamen Rider, and it's like I'm behind on all of that. So why didn't I'm supposed to have other characters show up, and they didn't. So I don't know why that didn't work. Anyway, regardless of whatever happened on that, I gotta get some sleep. It is now 1:07 a.m. But this should still, hopefully this shouldn't crash if we run it on there still. It didn't crash. That's good. Character party ID. See that I should have characters in there. They should be in. Oh, so in the save data, I have assigned there to be characters in the party, but what I did was I've disabled them because the game was crashing and I couldn't. You have to use a process of elimination when your game is crashing or it's not functioning properly. So you use a process of elimination. You start taking things out. So now I've re-enabled. See those characters? Those are your party members. I've re-enabled them. So let's see now. If I run this, I should have party members now. And I haven't seen the replacement for Super Sentai that it still didn't work. I need to figure out why it didn't work. Anyway, I'll figure it out tomorrow. It's too late at night now for me to figure it out. So anyway, thanks for hanging out with me tonight. I'm going to remove the debugging, the logging code for that. Thanks for hanging out, everyone. It's been really great just chatting and talking about whatever. Next time we'll play some games and whatever. And I wanted to do another video that was analyzing the characters designs of Star Fox, the proportions, but there's just a bunch of stuff I want to talk about. There's so many topics that I'd like to just discuss with you guys, but I'm so busy with my work. As you can see, this kind of work takes a huge amount of focus, just so much concentration. And doing the videos, it takes a chunk out of my day. It requires a few hours to do the episodes for the channel. So, all right, I'm gonna get some sleep, you guys. Great to hang out. The Super Sentai series I'm on is Kyoryuja? Is that it? Kyoryuja? Is it Kyo? No, not Kyoryuja. Is that it? That one. Yeah, I'm. No. 2013? Am I that far back? No, no, no. That's not the right one. No. No, right? No, I've seen it. I did see this one. Which one am I on right now? Can you just, I just want to see which one. That's not the one I'm on right now. Hold on. Which one am I on? Can you just show me the list of the Sentai, please? I just want to see the list of the Sentai. Um, you definitely plan to watch Go Kaiger soon. I want to rewatch Go Kaiger. Easily my favorite. By far, that's my favorite. Tokyuja is a very close. Like, well, Tokyuja is very close second place, but I really like Tokyuja. I think people don't really like Tokyuja. I really like it. I just want I want the list of the Super Sentai, actually. Super Sentai. Where is it? Can I just get the list? Am I not... Reiwa. Look at the Reiwa period. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Oh! Am I that... I can't be that far behind. Akira Meija, Zenkaija, don't... Oh, I haven't even got to Akira Meija yet. Oh, I am really... This is... I'm... Ooh. I'm still in the Heisei period. That's sad. Hold on. Ryu Soldier. Oh no! I'm back in Ryu Soldier. I haven't even. I'm in the middle of Ryu Soldier. I'm at episode 28 or 29 for Ryu Soldier, I think. That's sad. What year was this? 2020? No, I'm only 6 years behind. That's not that big of a deal. I'm only 6 years. I can catch up with 6 years of anime. That's like 46 episodes each. And I'm halfway through this, you know. So it's 46 times 5.5. Which is a lot of... That's a lot... Oh boy, that's a lot of episodes. I did see the first 2 episodes of Dawn Brothers, which looked really cool. So, anyway, good night, everyone. Thanks for hanging out. I gotta get some sleep. HKR30 official tweeted this last month. The Kamen Rider animated 50. They're doing an animated movie. That'd be really cool. That one I really like. I really want to watch too. Tokyuja. I like trains. Yeah, awesome. Tokyuja. What I really like is it's really dark. That story is dark. There's a lot of edge to it, and they're not afraid to. There's a lot of other seasons that just make things really cutesy and childish. I really didn't like Ninja for that reason. Like Ninja it felt very cutesy. But Tokyuja is very much like Go Busters, where it's just a dark, gritty story, and they tell it earnestly, and I really enjoy that. So Tokyuja I really like. Go Busters, oh, Go Busters is awesome. It's better than the 13 it could be, though. You know what I freaking love is Q Ranger. Oh, there's a couple seasons I could rewatch. I think again and again. Gokaiger easily. Gokaiger I could rewatch anytime, and I think Q Ranger I can watch anytime over and over again. There was like so many Sentai in this one. There's like 12, isn't there? There's more than 9, because you get the commander, and he makes the joke like, "Oh, we should be Jewel Ranger," for 10. But there's like 12 in total. I think there's like others. Anyway, you guys are seeing what a big Super Sentai fan I am. All right, have a great night, everyone. Take care. Have a great day wherever you are. I'll see you later. You adore Q Ranger. The suits in Q Ranger. Oh man, all the suits are so different. Tenben Gold is so cool, and you have Sutinga. Yeah, awesome. Anyway, I got to get some sleep. I'm starting to just get like fired up over Super Sentai. But I can't afford to rewatch the series that I like because I have to catch up on all the ones I haven't caught up to yet. Anyway, I hope they don't restart Super Sentai before I've had a chance to catch up. Good night, everyone. I'll see you later. Thanks for hanging out.